What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Guys, always, first and foremost, is always my friends over at BLUON because they are changing the game and they are literally upgrading the industry. Every one of you technicians out there, you have to have this download on your phone. It is only an asset to you. All right. An asset is something that's going to help you. Maybe you don't need it every day, but when you do need it, they are there for you. There is no better tech support in the industry, hands down, for residential HVAC techs. And now they're slowly adding more things. All right. All of us, I don't care how good you are, you get stuck, you get held up, you need help. They are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. All right. No more of that remembering your PIN code. Oh, what's that PIN code to get to tech support again? Don't worry about it. You don't need one. All you need is the BLUON app, which is free to become a BLUON Pro member. You go out and you run a call at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Hey, you still have tech support. It's not, oh, I got to hurry up and get to this call before tech support closes. They are always there for you. All right. So go download the BLUON Pro app. And then, not to mention, I'm not even going to get into all the other things that they have there to offer. The community, ordering parts, all that kind of stuff is just a plus. Oh, to the next one. Guys, COMPAMYCAM. I absolutely love this company. I have COMPAMYCAM Claire coming on. I finally got her booked, so she's one of the upcoming shows. I know for all you technicians, this really isn't for you because you can't make this decision, but you should be going to your owners, your managers, and telling them, hey, I want this app. I want this attached to our CRMs. How many times do you go out and you're trying to show somebody a picture of your daughter, your son, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is, and you can't find it because you have 45 fucking pictures of, units, data plates, and whatever it is that you can't get to the photos that actually mean something to you, or you forget to go back and delete those pictures. You know what I mean? So this keeps them separate, and it also makes it so you have a professional way to be able to show those to your customer. If you go to COMPAMYCAM.com/HVAC Uncensored, they'll let you try it free for 14 days. And then if you like it, then you get 50% off your next 2 months, your first 2 months. If you don't like it, then hey, no harm, no foul. It didn't cost you anything. The newest member, guys, is a CRM. I'm going to do this one really fast. Started working and talking to these people is going to be Field Pulse. So this is another one. It's a CRM, a customer resource manager that you run your business through. And I won't lie to you, we don't use this at Beltway. We're in the process of switching. We're not sure which one we're going to do. But this actually has some really, really cool stuff on there. So the only thing that I say, I'm working on a code now to be able to share with you guys to get a discount. If you're looking for a new one, just give them a try. That's it. Check them out. If they're for you, great. If not, I get it. There's a lot of others out there, but check out Field Piece. It's an all-in-one field service software to run your business. All right, enough of that. Let's get on with this show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, four, three, two, one, go. Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr., here on another Wednesday night. Got a really good show for you tonight. I can't wait to get in it, but I have to address the chat. I guess Mr. John Israel brought himself in here. Yeah, John, there's not a whole bunch of people watching, but millions of people download it. Something you wouldn't know about. And also, podcast makes more money than you could ever imagine. So much for you finding me in Atlanta, huh? Tough guy. Anyway, sorry. Let's move on. I'm not even gonna waste time on that. Guys, great show tonight. Some of you that are on Instagram would know this. My guest, you'll know him by the name that's on there, and his real name is Matt Showers, but his name on there is HVAC Grammarian. I think I said that right. So let's just bring him on and get right into this. So let's rock and roll. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry about the little drama in the chat. People, it's always fun.
But haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate, right?
Yeah, it's always something. So I don't worry about it. Let me turn your volume up a little bit. But anyway, man, if you wouldn't mind real fast letting everybody know, I know sometimes YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are like different worlds, because it was like that for me. If people don't know who you are and don't follow on Instagram, if you could let them know a little bit about you before we get going here, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an HVAC technician here in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. Been in the field for about 11 years. So I'm like a late person. I got a late start in my late 20s to do this. Now I'm almost 40, but love HVAC. I'm actually getting ready to leave the company I've been with for the past almost 10 years now to go work for Trane, the manufacturer, to do commercial service. So that's a little bit about me. The grammar thing is because I actually have one of those guys that has a college degree and ended up not using it. Ended up finding trades accidentally, but I figured, what, we all need to sound a little smarter, because there's a stigma of the dumb tradesperson or the dumb plumber or the dumb HVAC guy. So I figured, well, you know what, I'll try to elevate some people's games by correcting their spelling and grammar, and if they don't like it, well, then too bad. That's my shtick.
Probably butcher mine, because I know some of the things I write is a little crazy. Here, let me see if I can. I guess you were quiet, so people said to raise you up.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah, I can see the comments there too.
Can you see him? I thought there was a way to see him on your end. How does he sound, guys? I was gonna say I can't put him any louder.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe need to just eat my microphone then. I don't know.
Yeah, you're good. It happens. I have a little bit more room over here that I can bump you up, so it's all right. So long story short, guys, you guys know that I like to do different episodes. You guys know my past as far as how I feel about and suffering with like mental health and stuff like that, and addiction. I've always been very honest about my addiction in the past. And is it something that I'm proud of? No, of course not. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. I can't just erase that part of my life as much as I wish I could. That part has made me what I am today. And it got me and Matt talking about different things. And, if you guys don't know, Matt does a podcast. It's Trade Therapy, correct?
Yeah, that's the name of it.
Yeah. So I guess before we get into that, most of the listeners know my story. What got you into that side, wanting to, talk about that kind of stuff and bring it up?
Yeah, absolutely. So for myself, ever since I've been like a kid growing up, I played a lot of computer games as a kid. A lot of them were like educational, like everyone that might be like a 90s kid or whatever can remember things like Number Munchers or Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, playing on or Oregon Trail, You Died in Dysentery and all that wonderfulness. And so for me though, going to college then, was like, that's like, you're left without any kind of like rules or regulations kind of thing. You don't have parents lording over you. So there is where kind of like things kind of, I would say, took a dark turn in a sense. But it didn't like affect my schooling because I wasn't affecting other people per se. But anyway, what really kind of prompted me to like look at my own thing was just realizing that I do have an addiction, like to screens, like they talk about now with that dopamine high, that kind of thing. And so for me, it was I got to a point where I'm married and I've got 5 kids, and it was affecting my family life where I wasn't paying attention to them. Like my wife was noticing, like there she, I would be doing things when she was like away running errands or working or kind of thing, but then she would find out one way or another. She, those women, they find out. I mean, you can't hide from anything from them, but she found out, and it got to a point where she was getting ready to kick me out of the house because she's like, look, I'd rather be doing this by myself than with you around because it's like you're not here anyway. And that was a wake up call in which I finally then went to a therapist, actually went to a therapist and worked through some stuff that was, didn't realize I had or whatever. And did it for about, it was like 2 to 3 months of some therapy. But ever since that, then I just realized like I just can't play video games. No, like phone games, no. Video games, no. Any kind of like anything like that, no. Like the only games I'll play now is board games with my kids, and that's a family thing. That's like real interaction. That's not we're looking at a screen. So that for me, that's and then other people, I've heard other people like talking on other different podcasts. Like I know you said you've done some episodes, like Gary HVAC Know It All, HVAC Jerks, a handful of others have talked about like mental health and just like the need to talk about it. And so I thought, well, surely there's someone that maybe has like put has started something to basically say, well, let's get some stories together. Let's get the stories of people that are out there that maybe have dealt with these sorts of things. And I didn't find anything. And I thought, well, you know what? Let me give this a whirl. Let me see what I can try to do. I mean, everyone talks about like these different podcast platforms or whatever. So it's like I made a little thing on Anchor, and it's called Trade Therapy. I only have about 6 or 7 episodes right now, but I just kind of started it with just sharing what I just shared with you, just like my story, why I started doing this, my own crap that I dealt with, and I've talked with other people now to get like their story because they are aware of like they understand the benefit of talking about it and saying, hey, we are all people, we've all got our own crap to deal with. This is normal. Like no one is perfect. We've all got our, again, we all have our own shit to deal with. No one, there's no perfect person out there.
And you know what? First of all, it's awesome that you bring that up. Like I told you off air, that you bring up your screen time and being on the computer as an addiction, because a lot of people don't even think about that. And like I told you, that is probably more prevalent today than most drugs or alcohol. Like I told you, I've had that. And then secondly, real fast, is the fact that you decided to start a podcast and do that, because it's not easy. And a lot of people say they're going to do it and don't. So the fact that you did both of them, props to you, buddy. It's awesome. But
Thanks.
yeah, but back to that first one, guys, realize that, man, like, okay, so maybe you look back and you tell yourself, hey, I don't do drugs, I don't drink, or I don't have a problem with that. And, I go to work, I support my family, but the whole time you're home, you're not present. You're sitting there, boop, 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 watching YouTube videos, or maybe you do play video games, whatever it is. That's why we always say, be present when you are home. And if you don't have a family and you don't have that, then hey, do what you got to do. But if you're out there and you're a family man and you're a father, a husband, most of us, that's why we do what we do. That's why we make money. That's why we work so hard to provide for our families. And it doesn't mean that you can't have some time to go, watch a video or watch a movie or whatever that is. But that's a different thing. That's not an addiction. That's not a problem. Me, I've never really had an addictive personality, so to speak, but I'm quick to make excuses for things that I do wrong. I was telling Matt this off air that my thing was I would watch my phone and I'm like, oh, well, I'm working or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. I didn't need to be doing that at that moment. What I was doing wasn't more important than my daughters or my wife or my sons looking at me, needing my attention at that time. So, and then also going through the whole drug addiction. It's the trades. I've said this before. We have one of the highest divorce rates, alcoholism, drugs, And it's because what we do is hard. It's not easy, and not everybody can do it. So we have a hard trade, not to mention the elements, the hours you work, and things like that. And then sometimes the people you're around. So you can't always control your location. So it's definitely a lot, and it's awesome to open up. So I think that's cool. And you said that you've been good now for over a year, correct?
Not quite a year, but almost. But yeah, it's been like close to a year at this point. But it's it's still a thing. I mean, because like obviously like you and I hooked up here on Instagram to talk about this. I mean, that's still a part of it. Like that social media component is still like a draw where it's just like I want to check and see like, oh, did I get like likes or whatever on this video or this reel or whatever. It's that sort of thing where you're trying to maybe like grow a platform in some way, but but what are you sacrificing to for that end? And I mean, and kudos to you too. Like like we were talking off air about you have your boundaries set where it's just like, hey, this is like this time right here is your time to do this podcast, and once that's done, that's it. Like you have like your hour and a half or whatever, and that's it. And so for me too, like I mean, that's why I try to do like my own episodes. I do them around this time because it's just myself and my wife that are up, and I'm just doing it whenever I can find a guest, which isn't that often right now. I'd love that more. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink to anyone out there. but but she's supportive of the fact that like, she gives me this time to do it because it's not going to interfere with my family time. Like I get home from work and that's like the kids are running up to me like giving you the hugs. Dad, Daddy. They're all coming running up to you like they want your attention because you've been gone all day. And
Yeah.
sometimes it really sucks too, like when you're on call or something like that, and then you're out late or whatever. And it's funny too, like you're saying about the divorce rate, and I've talked about that a little bit. With I think there's all those jokes with people in the trades or in construction where there's like, oh, how many divorces and marriages have you had? Oh, you're not really in the trades unless you've had like 3 divorces or something like there's these jokes, which yeah, it's a joke, but at the same time, like, why is that normal? Like, why is that normal in our industry? That it shouldn't be, Like, I think in some way, like employers need to be taking some more, a better stance on taking care of their employees, on that front, because if you don't have happy employees, well, they're just going to be looking elsewhere for another job, I mean,
Because for the longest time, it was just the way it was. Nobody
Mhm.
that there was any different. And you're absolutely right that it was, the employers held all of the if you had a job that you were paying the bills, you're making good money, you had insurance and all that kind of stuff. Okay, yeah, I could find another job, but I'm comfortable here. That change scared the shit out of everybody, so people would just put up with it and deal with it. And like, at Beltway where I am, it's funny you say that because we actually have where Beltway pays for date night. So if they need to go out with their wife, like we'll actually give them like gift cards or whatever and be like, hey, take your spouse out. Or if one of them comes to me and says, hey, Gil, my son's got a ball game, my daughter's got a dance recital Thursday, I'd really like to be there. Well, guess what? That's where they're going. I will make
Mhm.
sure that they don't miss that kind of stuff because we can always make money. You can't get time back. And I did that for the longest time. I worked and worked. After beating addiction, I felt like I had to light a fire under my ass because I had no time to waste. So I would work, 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 work. I would take the overtime. Oh, you can't work? I got you, brother. I'll do it. And I learned a lot. I was able to get better and master my craft, but I missed a lot of stuff. So I don't want somebody else to do that. And now I make sure that I try to enjoy every single moment that I can because I mean, like, so for my kids, I have a 17-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, 7-year-old daughter, 5-year-old daughter. My boys, it feels like they were 7 and 5 the other day, so it's just
Mhm.
a matter of time before they're going to be gone. And you have to enjoy it while it's there because a blink of an eye and it's, it's gone. You can't get it back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, my kids are, oh my gosh, let's see, I got, yeah, 12, 10, 8, 5, and 3. So for me, it's like, 2 of them are past that halfway point, they're past that 9-year-old mark where it's like, almost like halfway out of the house, and the 12-year-old in the sense like, she's 2/3 out of the 2/3 out of them. I mean, unless something happens, but they say like you don't. What is it, it's like 80% of the time you get with your kids is in those first 18 years. I mean, and so for me, it's like in some way, I kind of there's definitely a lot of regret in the fact of just realizing the time. Speaking of the time that the time that I've missed because of this the crap that I dealt with because of being addicted to screens and being addicted to missing time with them playing video games or just not paying attention to them because I was too wrapped up in my own self. I mean, and that's great that your girls are popping in there. I mean, that's just perfect. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about for me. It's like, that's why. I mean, that the right there is why. And it just, for me, it's just just made me realize like, man, I was such a crappy father and a crappy husband for the first probably 5 or 6 years of my marriage, just because of this screen crap, and that's the thing. It's, like you said, like it's not, people don't think about it like drugs or alcohol, but it's just as deadly. I mean, there's all sorts of things now coming out, I think, that talk about how prevalent, you walk around, like you see these people walk around with they're not even paying attention to their surroundings. They've got a freaking phone in their face because they're just so sucked into that. It's like, who cares about having I don't know what they, some random thing or whatever, but it's like right now they've got, of course, you've got the VR stuff as well, which I mean, there's all sorts of things out there. I think it's just crazy, how prevalent this all stuff is. And we just really I think just need to unplug a little bit more.
Well, we do need to, because we need to, too many times in today's day and age is we want the acceptance or the okay of strangers, and we forget about the ones who mean the most. Our family and all that kind of stuff is the one who means the most. So normally this is the only night that a lot of times I don't get to kiss them or tuck them in. So I forgot to say, I ran down here and forgot to say night to my girls, so they came down here. So this is Miss Riley, and move this way a little bit, baby. And this is Miss Sophia. So you guys say hi real fast, and then I'll finish the show. All right. Here, you guys go. You got to come down here. Give me hugs. Give me a kiss.
Yeah, like you were saying, I've got, I got, I've got 12 and 10-year-old that are daughters. My oldest boy, he's the 8, and then I've got my 5, who's my youngest daughter, and then my youngest son's 3. So yeah, it's like, you just miss that. Like I miss that time, and so it's like I'm trying to. I mean, some ways I can't play catch up, but it's just like in the here and now. I just need to do better. I just need to be better and do better. And a lot of that for me, as far as what you could say maybe treatment for myself is for me is my faith. I'm if you look at some of my stories or whatever, you can quickly realize where I stand on certain things. But I'm Catholic, so for me, one of our saints is Saint Joseph, who most people would recognize maybe as as the father of Jesus in a sense.
I'm not Catholic now, but I grew up Catholic.
Okay, so for me, it's so Saint Joseph to me is a big role model in a sense because he was a carpenter, so he was a tradesman. He's like us. He was a tradesman like us, And so for me, it's kind of almost in a sense having a little bit of a devotion or some kind of looking up to him in a sense and saying basically kind of asking for his help in these sorts of things. For me, has been a huge help. I mean, take it or leave it, but I mean, for me, it's I don't care what you do to kind of treat whatever it is you're doing, whether it's therapy, faith, what have you. I mean, whatever other kind of spirituality you're into. I mean, I really don't care. I mean, I'm not going to preach at anybody, but for me, I'm just saying this is what works for me. This is what I've found has worked really well for me, and that's just trying to keep me essentially on that straight and narrow path of not veering off and going to the screens. I mean, every now and then, these damn ads pop up and you're like, hey, look at this game. This game looks so cool. And it's stop it. Damn it. I wish I could just shut them all off. I mean, even on Instagram too, you scroll through and next thing you know, poof, there's this thing about, hey, install this thing now. I'm like, son of a gun, stop it. Leave me alone. It's infuriating.
And once again, it's trying to escape reality. And, and to be honest, it's, imagine how hard it is for our age, but think about the younger technicians coming in. It's good that they can grasp some of the technology in the industry because they grew up with cell phones in their hands, but On the other side, like that's their life. I eat lunch, take a picture of it, you know? Oh, I'm at the store buying a pair of pants. Let's take a picture of it. You know, like that's how they live their life. And it's it's the trades can be very, very good to somebody. It is a very, very good live in. The blue collar world, you can make some serious dough. But
Sure.
it's like anything else. I mean, just in life, you have to be able to balance things and be able to measure them. So I am a Christian man myself. Grew up Catholic, but now it's. I would never preach it, and I would never say that I'm the perfect Christian. I don't think there's no such thing. But I use it as well to try to everybody that I've met, and I've surrounded myself with people that they're trying to make me better. You know, there's some friends that they're like brothers to me. I love them. I would do anything for them, but I can't hang out with them all the time because we're in different places in life. You know, I'm trying to accomplish things. I'm trying to set the bar and keep achieving things and stuff like that to leave a legacy for my family. And if somebody's not moving in that same direction, then it doesn't mean that we can't be friends. We can be friends. It just means that maybe we can't interact as much as we used to. You know what I mean? If that makes
Right.
sense. It's hard. In today's day and age, there's more distractions than we've ever had.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. And and I just see one of the comments that says, you are what you are around, and that's just it. I mean, whatever you surround yourself, whoever or whatever you surround yourself with is totally what you're going to get those influences. Like they're all going to seep in some way, shape, or form. Like you can't just block everything out. I mean, and one of the things, like like you said again, and like about like the time you have, it's just for me, it's establishing these boundaries and just saying like this is a hard line. Like I'm not crossing this line. Like this is the line that I've established for myself, and I'm not going to cross it. And if you do cross it, well, then you're compromising yourself, and then you're just opening yourself up to all sorts of other things to go wrong. And that's where it's like you talk about, I think like Alcoholics Anonymous, for example. Like I'm sure I don't know exactly the program per se, but I'm sure there's somewhere that they have like some hard lines wherever where it's just like these are the lines you are not going to cross, because once you do, then you're going to end up possibly slipping back, and then you're going to be back into the same back where you were, and right back where you were, and then then you're going to have to like start over or something like that. That's the thing is like relapse is no one wants to go back into a relapse. I mean, but that's just it. It's like it can easily be like that that chain around your neck. If you're not careful, it'll slip over your head real quick.
Well, and it's also so one of the other things that I've always suffered with. I guess my daughters didn't go upstairs because now my fucking dog is barking. But they must be running around in the basement. But is I've always suffered with anxiety, which is kind of ironic because people are like, I don't get anxiety about things that other people would think I would get. Like I can get in front of a group of strangers and talk to them and it doesn't bother me. I get anxiety under kind of weird things, personal moments, not wanting to say how I feel, etc. But the depression and the sad part is some of my depression has hit me the hardest when things are going the best in life. That's when it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter, how much money you make, how good things are going. Sometimes it just hits and it hits hard. And I want to cover all these different topics because I always say this, we have to stop suffering in silence. That's how people commit suicide. And that's a very serious topic, no jokes about that. I've had those thoughts. I've done stupid things in the past when I've let it get to me, and we have to talk about it and be open. And the more we do podcasts like this, like yours and like others, people in the trades will start to realize that it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not different. You're not broken, that you are human, and it's okay to have these issues. Go talk to somebody. And even though like in the drug addict world, it's, oh, well, I'm not as bad as that person because they smoke crack and I just have a weed problem. everybody's rock bottom is different. So don't compare yourself to somebody else. You know, what could be your hell could be somebody else's safe place, like, so don't compare yourself. If it's something that bothers you to the point that you can't get through a day, or you start changing your thought patterns and it starts changing the way you act and the way you do things and how you feel, you need to address it. You need to talk to somebody. I was trying to work out a sponsorship, not even a sponsorship, just a code. I didn't want any money through something that I highly recommend. I'm going to have a brain fart and can't even remember their name right now. It's an online, damn it. But it's an online like therapy kind of thing that you can do it from your truck, your house. You don't have to have you can do it through a Zoom call. You can just do it through a phone call. But it really makes getting therapy and getting the help you need right at your fingertips. There's no reason, oh, well, I was working, I couldn't make it to the office, or I didn't feel like seeing that lady. So it makes it so it's there and it's simple for everybody to be able to get the help that they need.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I mean, because even that's kind of how I went through it actually, was I found this guy, this therapist who's up in like north of me, up in this the area is called Wyomissing, which is I think is like Framingham, Pennsylvania, kind of think like Reading area, Reading. So, it's like an hour north of me. But we were able to have therapy sessions because they have like there's these apps now. I mean, like Zoom is one of these apps. I think is like where it's like they have that confidentiality agreement kind of thing. The one that he used was called like telehealth or something like that.
BetterHelp. Sorry, I just
fine.
It was gonna bother me until I found that. I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. I mean, yeah, I knew what you were talking about too. But I mean, that's kind of like I can't remember if it was that or site, but I mean that's how in some way what I ended up doing was like going to like some website like that, and then saying, this is like these are the things I'm looking for like in a therapist. Like I want them to be male, I like them to be Catholic, because of my faith, and this and that, and then it popped up like this screen of like here are all these ones that are like in like even in like Pennsylvania, for example, and then and I just reached out to one that I was like, you can like see their credentials and everything else and see what they work on. And that's the thing is like now because of a lot of it, I think is because of COVID, you can go online now and like have these apps and do this sort of thing like you and I are doing right now, but from the comfort, but from your couch or from your bedroom or wherever. Like you don't have to go to a physical office. Like you can do these things, at home, which I think is a huge help because then again, like you're just saying, there's no excuse for you to not get help. And I mean, like I had a small, like, and insurances too, I think are starting to realize that as well because like, I mean, I had a small copay, but you know what, for me, it's just like, you can't put a price on your health. And that's what I told my wife too, because she's dealt with some physical stuff as well. And I'm like, you can't put a price on your health. Like what's your life worth? You can't put a price tag on that. That's just it. And so, I mean, that's for me, like with you, like, there's like that, like you're saying about someone reaching out to you at AHR and like, someone that you like actually reached out to, like they came to you and, they like, that was someone that you touched in some way, like that, you inspired them in some way. And so for me, like, that's where I, like for me, it's like, even if I get one person through the midst of all this, that this takes a look and says, you know what, I've got some of my own shit I need to deal with and I need to go and I need help. If there's just one person out there that does that because of what I do, then that makes it all worth it. Like, I mean, I don't care, but that's just it. Like, I mean, I just want to get the word out there. Like you're saying, we got to make this normal. We got to make, I mean, it shouldn't be normal, but at the same time, we all have our own crap that we deal with and we have to address it as best we can so that we can be the best person as we can be. Or as, Mike, the reefer guy likes to always say, be good human. We got to be the best good human we can be. And if that involves like dealing with the stuff that we keep brushing off and putting into the closet of our life before it becomes this mountain and then kills us or crushes us, then so be it. We got to clean those closets out.
Yeah, I mean, and we're all human. Everybody goes through something. Maybe it's not as bad as others, but I think what happens is, and I can speak for myself, is you put that smiley face on and everything's fine. Yep. Everything's great, but it's not. And you can only, until you fix something, you know what I mean? Like you can keep going out to a customer and, say you're fixing their air conditioning system, like if it's got a leak and you just keep adding refrigerant, oh, it's going to be good this time, Mrs. Smith. You know damn well it's not going to be fine. It's just a matter of time until it leaks out again. Well, it's that same kind of analogy. Until you fix it, the problem is not solved. So you have to take care of it. Hey, Adrian, Rick, sorry, saying I didn't say hi to some people in the chat real fast. So, Mr. HVACR North, Jesus. Mr. Joe North, what's up, buddy? Adrian, reliable HVACR. Let's see. Obviously, rookie Sam, Mr. Isaiah, Mr. Williams was here. Let's see. If I missed anybody, I said Rick already. HVACR Survival. Thank you guys, man. Matt T, what's up? I've been getting into this conversation. So, all of you guys that have followed me for a long time, you know that, this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So when Matt reached out to me, I was like, you're damn right. I'll talk about this in a heartbeat. I want to ask this question real fast and make it you guys don't have to give any kind of personal details, but have any of you ever suffered from any kind of addiction, whether it's a drug or alcohol, being on your phone or computer too much? Or have you ever dealt with any kind of anxiety, any kind of depression of any kind, to where it bothered you enough that you kind of worried yourself? I'm not asking anybody to go in any kind of detail. I don't expect you to do that on YouTube. But just a yes or no, or I've dealt with some stuff or something, like some kind of answer like that would be cool. I'm just curious out of the people. Not a huge crowd tonight, but no worries.
Well, you're funny that you say about the anxiety thing, because I just had a conversation with a lady up in Canada. She's just started doing HVAC about a year and a half ago, and like she's talking about anxiety, what that looks like. I mean, I think you saw like the little clip or whatever, but it's that sort of thing where like it's like what looks like, say like within her example, what looks like productivity or being like a reliable person to the anxious person is totally different, where it's just like, man, I'm afraid I'm going to fail, or that sort of thing. I mean, that's just it. It's like, you can put the smile on your face, but what's underneath that mask there? Like what's underneath that? Like what's the real stuff going on underneath the surface? Like, like I say, you gotta, if you have like some kind of crap that you're dealing with, we can't just keep shoving it aside. Like you can't just push it off into that, like the proverbial closet of your life or whatever, because one day you're going to open it up and it's just going to all fall out and crush you, and then that's when you're going to hit that rock bottom. And then that's when you're really going to have to do something. I mean, and so for me, it's like, yeah, I'd rather just deal with that stuff now, deal with the molehill before it becomes that mountain in a sense.
Yeah. And it's, and obviously it's good. So real fast before I answer that, Mr. Vic, HVACR Survival said, hell yeah, I'm on drugs for it. Don't tell anybody. I won't tell anyone. And then Rookie says, yeah, doesn't everyone have their own demons? Exactly. And some are worse than others. I said before, guys, is what is bad to someone else may not be bad for you. What is bad for you may not be bad for them. So how we say in the drug world is everybody's rock bottom is different. And it's just small things, like your wife came to you and was like, hey, this is a problem. It's affecting our family. Like either you fix it, we fix it, or, you're going to go. Not everybody has somebody that'll give them that kind of ultimatum, but the same token, it's, let's just say in my life, and then we have chronic flute. So that is Rick's wife, and I know her story. It's not funny, but it's, her and my wife actually suffer from the same brain condition, which not a lot of people know about, GRE malformation. But it's, seeing how things affect people and what they have to live with. And also remember this, not to go too far off topic here, is sometimes people have issues or disabilities that you can't see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's so we can't assume, stuff like that. And to try to turn this in a more positive note, that's why, like, I used to have one of the biggest, now I had to rebuild it, my Facebook group, HVAC Uncensored Nation. It's great that I have it. sponsors like to see that many people, but I don't even go into that group because the Facebook platform has got into shit on somebody else to make me feel better about myself, which I don't understand that mentality. My life sucks, my day sucks, so I'm gonna make somebody else miserable to make myself feel better. It just doesn't add up. But I love that about the HVAC community of influencers and podcasters and whatever that I've been able to meet and talk to, and just Instagram as a whole, that everybody is positive and helps everybody and gives everybody positive feedback. Because if you don't like what somebody's doing, then you can just unfollow them. There is no group like, oh, this is the cool kids talking about this guy. So it's cool, those kind of little things, because it's cool to interact and talk, to have somebody to talk to that understands what you're going through. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got off Facebook for a few years ago for other reasons. But yeah, like the negativity on like those HVAC groups is just, oh my gosh, it's just terrible. And then you come over here, like you basically get onto like the Instagram or whatever, like that's my, like at this point, that's my only social media device. Like if I, again, like that's it, like that's my boundary. Like I'm not going to get into TikTok. Twitter's a freaking dumpster fire in my opinion. It's
like I'm new. I'm like, I feel like an old man. I was like, everybody look at me. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt again.
You're okay. But so for me, it's like, you go on Instagram and, like, or like say like I bet you somebody like Jeff Dadem, who has those freaking immaculate installs, and Mike Flynn as well. Like those two guys up in Jersey, oh my gosh, they kill it. I swear there would be somebody, if they posted on Facebook, I swear there would be somebody that would look at their installs and say, well, that's not code in my state. That's so wrong. And I'd be like, and it's just like, dude, go the fuck away. Like, just get away.
People that will never ever share any of their work.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's just it too. Yeah, that's where I'm like, oh my gosh, just stop. So
I had a guy on TikTok that I shared one of our jobs, and the duct system, they had to do like a spider system because it was a prefabbed house, like a custom, and it's not perfect. It's not the way that we would want, but when we install something, we guarantee CFM, like you're going to get the desired CFM, and that every room is going to be with at least 1 degree from each other. So we take it very seriously. So the guy was like, oh, you used flex, so that's so unprofessional. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, the difference between flex and hard pipe is like 10 to 15 CFM. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you come to me with facts and be like, hey, you should have done A, B, C, D, and you can prove what you're saying. I'll be like, damn, dude, you're right. I'm not, I can always learn something, but when you give me your opinion, hey, I don't give a fuck about your opinion. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
I was just about to say, you just took the words right out of my mouth there, Gil. I was just going to say that, but yeah, that's just it. Yeah, it's like if you're gonna do a job like that, like there are some things where I've seen where I'm just like, I don't know about that, but I'm like, you know what though? But if that works, then so be it. Like I've seen some places where it's like, they run flex, but it's like, you know what? If the flex is done correctly, then it'll work. But too many times I go across homes where it's like you just see it doing like, like these S curves and going all over the place, and you're just like, what in the hell are they doing? Then you come across that kind of nonsense. So yeah, I get where flex gets a bad rep, but yeah. But like I said, I just like with Instagram too, where it's just like like you said, it's just overly just more positive. And even if it's not, like even if there is something that you might have like kind of like messed up on, it's not like they're crashing down on you. They're just like, hey man, did you ever think about doing this next time? Or I don't really like the way that looks. And then you're like, yeah, I know but this is XYZ reason why it just didn't work the way it did. Oh well. And it's not like they're like trashing you. They're not like, essentially bullying you for posting. They're just like, hey, just try to do a little bit better. Like there's like some like constructive criticism going on there.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's the way it should be. We should not be afraid to show our work because of the criticism we're going to get. If anything, that's when people are like, hey, man, like, like it looks good. You can tell that you gave a shit doing this. But hey, next time if you try to do this, or maybe if you do your straps and instead of running that duct the way you did, if you go down and over, it's a straight shot, or blah blah blah. Like that's how we all learn and get better. And I agree about that being on the Instagram community. And the other thing is, if somebody is outright outlandish and an asshole, the community will take care of it itself.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I've seen that happen where it's like somebody makes some comment, next thing you know, like basically I think someone called like the HVAC army just like shows up in droves, and they're just like, oh really? We'll show you. And then it's the troll just gets beat up profusely. It's so funny. I love it. It cracks me up when that happens.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that I know that we don't do everything perfect. We have as a company we have standards, and we put procedures and things in place so that we try to have the best possible outcome that we can have every single time. And God forbid we make a mistake, then we'll make it right. If I have to go to a customer's house and rip a whole system out and redo it because we didn't do it right, then we'll stand by it. We'll do that. But when people say stuff like that, it's like, we actually go through and measure the airflow out of every single register. We do a startup report on something to make sure that we are getting the proper CFM on every single, room or register that we're supposed to get. We make sure it adds up to the theory. Like, oh, well, the theory, this room was supposed to get 75. We're supposed to have, we're supposed to have 150 CFM going into this room, but we're actually getting 140. You know what I mean? Like we'll go through and we'll check that to try to make sure. So that's why I just laugh when some people are like, oh, you did this. And it's like, man, get out of here. If you only knew some of the things that we did behind the scenes to try to be good at what we do, it's funny.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and I did a co-host a podcast with Gary with Gary McCready and Pat Finley, who's what's his handle? Commercial Kitchen Chronicler.
Yeah,
but we had a great conversation. He was talking about like his own journey, like his mental health stuff, and basically he got to a point like because of like just he was having like I think it was like depression and just like not getting enough sleep because he was dealing with some sleep apnea stuff, and he was one of those trolls, one of those bullies essentially, and he had a friend basically call him out and say, dude, this ain't you. Like, what are you doing? You are not this person. And basically, that was like for him, like that was like that low point in the sense where he was just like realized, like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not that person. He had like a heart-to-heart talk with this guy for like an hour or whatever, and made that realization. Like, and so that's where you almost wonder too, like, what's going on with these people that maybe they have their own stuff that they're trying to deal with, but they're just lashing out because they don't have another outlet. Like they're just like, they're depressed or they're anxious or whatever. I mean, maybe they've got their own mental health crap that they're trying to deal with, but they're just like, I don't feel like dealing with it, so I'm just going to take it out on this random person and shit post on their stuff or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, that's just it, unfortunately. But you can make you can't make assumptions. It's again like everyone else is saying. Everyone's got their own demons or whatever. So maybe that's just the way that they're trying to, in a sense, like deal with it, which is sad and unfortunate. But I mean, you almost feel sorry in some way for some of those people.
Yeah, and once you get to know Pat, you'll realize that he's one of the nicest, coolest dudes you'll ever meet. So,
oh yeah,
something like that means it took him out of his character. We all have that where something happens, something goes on in our life where we do things that are out of character. But you start doing those enough, then you start redefining your character. So you got to try to realize these things or have people in your life, like your wife, like my family, that's like, hey, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is not,
yeah,
you need to get your shit together, and be that friend to somebody else too. Even if you have somebody you're working with, like just give a shit about other people. Like if you see somebody at work and like say they've never been late and now all of a sudden for 2 weeks you notice they're supposed to be there at 7:30 in the morning and it's 7:45, 7:50, 8, and you're like, maybe that person wants you to be like, hey, what the hell's going on, man? Are you all right? Maybe they're crying out for help and they just don't ask for it. But that one day that you ask them, hey, what the hell's going on? They say, dude, my wife left me, or whatever it is. Maybe they want somebody to talk to, but people will not just come out and drop their problems on you because people feel like you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to tell people your stuff. And as a man, it's, hey, you can't have problems. You know what I mean? You're supposed to eat that shit sandwich, shove it down, and fucking keep trucking. And it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. And I'm glad that there's more and more, like I said, more and more of these shows that people are talking about that, because it doesn't make you a fucking pussy or a wimp because you talk about things. It makes you human, like I said earlier.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it just makes you. I think it makes you a stronger person, honestly. I mean, like, you dealt with your stuff. I mean, I've dealt with my stuff, and I would say, like, you and I would. So I can't speak for you exactly, but I would say, based on what I'm saying anyway, like, you've come out a better person. I've come out a better person because of it. It's like, you have like those, those trial by fire, whatever, and it's like, to make an analogy, it's like, they talk about, purifying gold or whatever. You have to run it through fire or whatever to get the impurities out. Well, you know what? That's just it, or like that saying of like pain is weakness leaving the body kind of the thing, where it's just sometimes you have to have those instances where you hit like rock bottom, where you just have like these really shitty moments or these shitty times just to basically make yourself that better person so that, it's just like, well, you know what, this is Matt, Matt 1.5. Well, now I'm going to be Matt 2.0 kind of thing. You don't know. I mean, but that's just it. It's, we never stop growing. We never stop learning. And that's just it. But at the same time, yeah, like you're saying, we can't expect to just ignore problems and just, not talk about it. It'll chews you up inside. Like those, those inner demons, they'll just feed on that essentially. And then next thing you know, they just come out and then you're not who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, or sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. Like I look back in my life and, the fact that I even had to deal with addiction. Oh, poor me. That my wife has a brain condition, that I had to beat, testicular cancer, that I watched my father take his last breath. I lost my dad. I've buried most of my best friends. I could live life as this woe is me. Oh, you know what I mean? But you can't. And there's always somebody else who has it harder than you do. And I can't live my life like that. And not saying that I don't get down in the dumps sometimes, because I do, but I just keep trying to push through it. Like I remember I went and visited one of the children's hospital around here, and I left there feeling like the biggest piece of shit, because I was like, for one, I was touched. Like what I saw, I was like, you didn't see any tears besides maybe me and the people that are walking through that place. But I saw a bunch of kids that never had, they were given a shitty hand. They were dealt a shitty hand in life, but they were enjoying every moment. They were just happy to be alive, happy to be with their families. The parents were just happy to be able to spend time with their kids. And you hear about their stories and what these kids go through. Half of us would not be able to do one iota of some of the things that these kids do. And then when you leave there, all the emotion, because you try not to show emotion around them because they're happy. But I left there and was just like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. Like, and I think that these little things that I worry about that I think are such a big deal are nothing in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? I guess that's just to put things in perspective. I guess I shouldn't say nothing, because we're sitting here telling people to talk about their problems, and then I'm like, oh, your problems aren't shit. So it just made me put a lot of things into perspective, seeing stuff like that. It was wild.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, not to say that your problems aren't worth a damn or anything like that, but at the same time, there are times where it's just like, if you can't be like that, you can't just like that, be like Debbie Downer, you can't be that person.
As bad as you thought they were.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just it. I mean, you go, like you said, you go and you see like these kids, or anyone else that, there's just like that exuberance of life. Like they're just living life and they're just loving life. Like, this is the hand they've been dealt. But you know what? They're just playing with that hand and they don't care. Like this is the hand I've been dealt. I can't do anything about it, but I'm going to make the most of this. By golly,
Yeah.
And it's like that sort of thing. It's very, it's totally inspiring. Like you leave there and you're just like, man, my hand looks a hell of a lot better. And what the hell have I been doing with my hand? What's my hand look like compared to theirs? And what am I doing? Then that's where for me, and I think maybe for you too, I don't want to speak for yourself, but like for me anyway, where it's just like, man, I've been dealt this great hand. I've got an awesome wife. I've got 5 fantastic kids. I've got this great job working in this great field that I love doing. And what am I doing? I'm spending my free time like playing freaking video games for what? Nothing. Like some magical trophy, whatever. Whatever the object of said game was or is, or maybe that's the thing. Or some of these games don't even have like an end goal. That's part of the problem too. But that's a whole other can of worms. But that's just it. It's like, what are you spending your life doing? Like, why, don't be wasting your time on things that don't matter. Like, do the things that matter. I mean, because there's you had your girls on earlier, and there's a shirt that I still want to get, and it's like, it says, most people call me HVAC technician. The most important call me dad. And that to me is just like, that sums it up right there. It's like, yeah, like we can be like the biggest, best, HVAC technician, plumber, electrician, carpenter, whatever, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, who's going to be at your bedside when you're at death's door? Not all those great coworkers or those customers. It's going to be those loved ones. Yeah, and if you don't, if you don't invest in that, then what's the point?
Yeah. Sorry, my wife is messaging me. It's always something on the honey-do list.
Oh yeah, I've got a honey-do list as well.
Sorry, she'll just keep messaging. It pops up on my phone. It pops up on the screen over here. It's crazy, but we've been going for an hour, man. And I try to cut it off. I don't want to keep anybody too long, man. But
oh, good.
Yeah, I want to say this. Like, I really appreciate. I appreciate you reaching out for us to be able to talk about this topic. I appreciate being able to meet you. To definitely like be able to continue the relationship and talk about this, man. Like, obviously, if I am no podcasting expert, but if I can help in any way, let me know. I'll return the favor and come talk on yours. Even though I can give you the audio of this and it's the same thing, but. Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out, man, because this is a very powerful topic, and I love to talk about this. Like you said, if it only helps one person, then it was all worth it.
Absolutely, yeah, and then thank you for the time to do this, and for using you're also talking about it too on your platform as well. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, that's great that there's. Like I said, the more people that talk about it, the more that we can make this more like normal in the sense that we're human, we all have our own craft.
Yeah. And like I said, I love the fact that you came on here and brought up, you really brought up the screen time and stuff like that, because I really think that a lot of people don't think of that as an addiction. They just think of that as, oh, I'm just in the times, I'm working, I'm doing this. But I started coming home and I got better with it. I wasn't always like that. I was always on this stupid thing. But sometimes I'll come home and I will sit this on the dresser and I'll just leave it there. Granted, I have my Apple Watch. I can't watch videos and stuff. But if I see somebody calling that's important enough, then I'll go get my phone. Hey, what's up, man? But if I see something that's not important or like, oh, I can call that person back at another time, then I don't have to worry about it. So another thing is I used to have the bigger iPhones, the Max or whatever. And I always had to use a belt clip because it was so big. It's like putting an iPad in your pocket. So when I finally got a 14, I got the regular just Pro, the smaller one. So I went away from a belt clip. So that way it doesn't have to be attached to me. I can go sit it down and not have a clip on my belt like I'm walking around with an assault rifle or something. So I've been slowly trying to make moves to get better at it. So far, so good, but everything's a work in progress. I always say, try to be better today than you were yesterday. Try to be better tomorrow than you were today. If you keep living your life that simple, then you'll be okay in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like for me, one of the big things I do with my phone, for example, is like I have notifications off. Like I don't have notifications turned on because that's where they get you to. It's like, oh, like a notification popped up and then you want to go look at it. So for me, it's like, notification is like a message, which typically is my wife. Like she's the only one that really texts me, which is fine, but yeah, that's just it. Like, I mean, you got to take your own steps to deal with your own stuff, essentially. Like, realize, here's what the problem is. Here are the steps I can take to correct the problem. And here's where I can go, going forward then to basically kind of like stay in this good place so I don't relapse and fall back.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's, like I said, it's always a work in progress. I think everything is a continuing work in progress. No, you're never ever done with something or finished. You always got to keep making it better. As long as we do that, keep having these conversations and know that it's okay to talk about things and be open with one another. I think that that's definitely a positive thing moving forward, So
absolutely, yeah.
So, but yeah, man, Matt, thank you again, man. I appreciate you for coming on. Please, you're welcome to come back and do this anytime. Just reach out to me. And guys, if you are on Instagram, Matt puts out some cool stuff. Go check out HVAC underscore. No, I'm not doing an update right now. Sorry. Grammarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see it, but he has some cool stuff. Go give him a follow. If you're not following me, follow me too. So I'm trying to get that shit. But all right, brother, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out real fast. Thank you so much for coming on, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody, let me close this thing out real fast, man. Thank you guys in the chat. I appreciate you for some of it's always the usuals coming out. I appreciate you guys, man. I really do. A lot of really cool guests coming up. I'm going to start putting out something. I'm going to start trying to put out these show links before the day of. I know that's probably a pain, and that's my fault. I've been saying I'm going to fix that for a while, and I haven't. So I'm going to make sure that I start getting these out as soon as possible so that you guys see them. And also putting out something so you guys can see the upcoming guests that are showing up, because the podcast is booked out pretty far. So, or I don't want to say that. We have quite a few guests lined up. So that way you guys can kind of know who's coming on before the actual day of, or before I put the show link out. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's it, guys. I am doing a really big merch order, and so I have the website on there to be able to get merch, and I'm trying to tune some of those things on there, but I am purchasing a big merch order, shirts, some hats, and different things that I want to be able to give some friends and stuff like that. Friends, fellow podcasters and influencers that have sent me stuff. I want to be able to return that favor, but I'm also going to give that out to some of my loyal, people that are always here and always supporting me. I'm also going to try to give some of that stuff to you guys as well. So once I get that and that stuff comes in, I'll let you guys know, and I will disperse it accordingly. And then obviously after that, whatever I have left, I'll put it up for sale, or we'll figure out what's going on with it. I don't know, maybe some giveaways, but yeah, that's good. All right, man, guys, thank you so much for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and end this. I was making sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. Guys, remember, be safe out there. We all have somebody to make it home to. All right. Whether it's driving, whatever it is, be safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right. Keep trying to make yourself better. Keep trying to be a better person. Help somebody else in a positive way. All right. Don't contribute to the negativity. I'm the kind of person, I feel like if you ignore the negative vibes, if you put positive vibes out in the world, positive energy, that's what you're going to get back. All right. So let's do that. And last but not least, man, I appreciate you guys. All right. I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you so much for supporting me and all this time I've been podcasting, and I'm going to keep trying to get better, trying to do some things on the back end here that I'm slowly trying to, before I announce them, I want to make sure they're finalized and actually going to happen so that I'm not just blowing smoke up everybody's ass. But I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much. Be safe out there. Have a great week. And until next Wednesday, I'll talk to you mofos later. All right? Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.